You are Locked On Coogs, your daily podcast on the Houston Cougars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Parker Rancher, Locked On Coogs. You're talking about Houston's big win over Oklahoma State, 60-47, and really it never felt that close. People talking in the chat here. GB Coog says, great conference win, great conference start, go Cougs. And then Joe Mendez says he liked the inside-outside game today. And that's kind of what I want to start with in the second segment, talking about the ugly offense the Houston Cougars played. Because ultimately, as I looked at this game, I really thought the pace is going to be one thing. If Oklahoma State can get in transition, be helpful for them or whatever. But the ugly offense, I don't know that I saw. Oklahoma State's not a tremendous defensive team. They try and play fast, and they gamble some for turnovers, and that worked out for them. Houston had 12 turnovers. Oklahoma State had just 14. That was relatively even given the score and discrepancy in the game on the scoreboard. I wouldn't have known that those were even, except that you wouldn't guess those things were even, I should say. But as you look at the offense that Houston played here, it just felt like at times they didn't stick with what works, right? I had a coach one time that told me sometimes you just got to ride the horse that brung you. And, that he'd use that when, like, if this running back were playing really well, or if we were riding the, shoulders of this shooting night or whatever, that's just kind of what you do. You ride the guy that was having that kind of night. And it doesn't feel like Houston was doing that. Juwan Roberts had 20 points on 13 shot attempts. I understand that Houston's got a lot of mouths to feed, a lot of great guys on offense. I don't know how Juwan had just 13 shots. It did not – and he missed his first two. After missing his first two, he went 9 of 11 the rest of the way. He played 32 minutes. It wasn't like he went on the floor. 20 points on 13 shots, to me, is almost more insulting, right? Because to me, it's like he should have had 17 shots, 18 shots, right? Why does he not touch the ball more often down the floor? If he's feeling it like that, they have trouble covering him like that, he ought to get the ball, especially as a super senior 6-year guy. Like, he ought to be getting the ball every single time. When he got his 26 points against Tulane, I looked at the box score in the interim while waiting on some technical difficulty stuff to get ready to get going here. And he, for what it's worth, against Tulane, had a lot more than 13 shots to get 26 points. And I feel like that's really twofold. One, some of that's got to follow the players, right? I know people want to go to coaching and offense and link the two together. Samson runs a lot of pro-style sets, which a lot of, hey, I'm going to coach you and teach you a lot before the game, and then in the game, you're making decisions, right? And that's the way he goes. That's his pro background for his time between Indiana and Houston. I guess Houston Cougars. He was a Rockets assistant coach there for a minute, one of his pro stops. But a lot of the stuff he's picked up and brought with him into this offense has been those pro kind of tendencies. And it just felt like that got him away from finding the hot hand. Now, we've seen them find the hot hand when it's Emanuel. We've seen them find the hot hand when it's LJ. We've seen them find the hot hand when it's Terrance. In this game, the hot hand was Juwan, and I felt like he should have had more shots and more touches. I'm not upset about the kinds of touches he was getting. Again, they got him on the block a lot. He even caught the ball a couple times out at like the 18, 20-foot area and drove hard left. I felt like, you could have got him even more involved in those kind of things. And it's interesting because it brings up a flaw. I think someone tweeted at me, and forgive me if I can't find your name here. But one of the flaws in this is that as good as Houston is at getting in the paint and getting the ball dropped off, getting the ball kicked out, right? Those are different kinds of passes. The post-entry game out of this, and then frankly, getting out of the way once you enter the ball into the post, Houston had some issues with that. They had the ball. They threw the ball high to JoJo a couple times. I don't know how you overthrow JoJo. They threw the ball low once or twice to JVA. I feel like along the way here, right, that's got to kind of be something they tighten up. And none of these guys can't do it. It felt just like a rusty, like taking a few days off kind of game. And it has been a while since their last basketball game, and it was A&M Corpus Christi, right? So it wasn't like it was even the most like difficult or challenging opponent. They're getting kind of back into the swing of things here. but it did, I think, impact. I don't want to say the outcome of this game because Houston won by 13. They were up by 21 1 point with about 4 or 5 minutes left. Like this game was never necessarily in doubt in that instance. But it was definitely a harder game than it had to be for Houston because of that. And if they feed the hot hand early, if they get J1 he had 10 at halftime, if he had 14 at halftime, or if he had, the first 3 possessions out the gate, I think that which at the gate at halftime, I should say, I think that adds to this team, makes this team better. I also think it's interesting that it felt like whenever they came out of a timeout or whenever you can see Samson, like in the second half on the same side of the court, Samson on TV, so you can see Samson standing and coaching. Whenever Samson got a chance to coach it up, it felt like that was when you saw the post touch happen. I think that Samson wanted it a lot. And I'm sure that in film study between now and Saturday, they're on the plane probably very soon at this point. This record live after the game on Monday night. I'm sure that they will focus on here's why we got to get the ball to the post there. Here's why we got to get Jawan another touch there. Here's why Francis needs a better pass here. Here's why JoJo needs the ball there and not here, right? Those kinds of things I think will happen. I trust that they will happen with the staff. So I don't mean to say that like it's all for naught. But I worry that Houston got lucky and that this rusty game happened against this much worse opponent, right? They play a much better team on Saturday with BYU. And this Igor Demon guy his name is Igor Demon because that's, my best pronunciation of the name, but he is really a demon, Demon, in the sense that like he's a challenging, tough, difficult matchup. And so as the Big 12 looks to unfold, or I don't know what the best answer here is. I worry about how few games like that they can play, right? Like how many times is Houston going to get away with that kind of a game? Now I want to talk some about the rest of this BYU team and kind of this effort going into Big 12 play as Houston looks to get into Big 12 play. Let's take 1 second to pause here.